Hi everyone, I've decided to continue the Let's Learn series of videos, and I brought my girlfriend along for this one.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about Prohibition in the United States, which encompassed a period from 1920 to 1933. This was following the 18th Amendment's ratification and ended with the 21st Amendment. Did you know that Maine actually became a dry state in 1851?
I did not.
Yes, it did. And then other states became dry, and most notably Ohio. And
Why is that more notable than other states?
well, it's because this guy Wayne Wheeler actually came about with the Anti-Saloon League, which was a pressure group, which actually the first of its kind. He actually came up with the name for it. When he joined in 1893, he was actually a college student. He later became a lawyer and became the chief advocate for the group. And the idea behind it was, instead of like with the Prohibition Party, which was a party founded principally on putting a prohibition across the nation on alcoholic drinks, he actually formed the Anti-Saloon League, or helped form it, which only advocated on issues, did not create a platform of any nature. So
they were like lobbyists.
similar. Think of it like anti-abortion activists today, where they will not vote for anyone who isn't anti-abortion, and they will fight vehemently against people who are pro-abortion. This was actually an evangelical organization. In Ohio, it kind of became like the bastion of anti-drinking movements. And I don't know if you knew this one, but the temperance movement was really caught up in the suffrage movement.
Yep.
Yeah, Susan B. Anthony?
I am aware.
Okay, well, do you want to explain that?
Not really.
Okay. Susan B. Anthony had been a prominent temperance advocate before she became a suffragette. And she actually became a suffragette because she wasn't allowed to speak at a temperance meeting, which is always kind of interesting. So, with the Anti-Saloon League, they were actually able to get Ohio to become a dry state, and it kind of started picking up action across the country very quickly thereafter.
So did a lot of this evangelical fervor come out of the Great Awakening and all of that going on?
Yeah, like there was always a temperance movement in the country, and it really kind of picked up steam after the Great Awakening and throughout the 1820s and 1860s. But not all of this was evangelical, believe it or not. We don't think of it today as such, but the progressive movement at the time was very anti-alcohol, and them and the Ku Klux Klan, these two groups are named specifically. Yeah, I know you're getting that look on your face, because the progressive movement of the time was all about workers' rights, and they felt that alcoholism and alcohol kind of exploited the lower class and kept them from achieving any full potential, and the Ku Klux Klan was just afraid of black people drinking. So they kind of formed a weird alliance. And that was kind of what made it possible for them to push the temperance bills in other states. And there was one major obstacle to actually getting a national bill passed that would ban the sale of alcohol. And that was the income tax. There was none at the time. So by instituting one in 1913, they actually took away a significant portion of the federal argument against prohibition, which was, at the time, alcohol was about 40% of the government's income. Sale and consumption of alcohol was heavily taxed. And this made sense because in 1860, people drank something like 6 times more per person than they do today.
Well, in many places, water was not always necessarily safe, so making your own cider, I actually have a book that I inherited from my great-grandmother about making your own cider in the backwoods of New England specifically. And it talked about how when the early, pioneers and everything were going around, they would make their own cider and drink a lot of it because the water was not necessarily safe everywhere that they were settling.
Yeah.
And cider was safe.
Yeah. So people were drinking a lot of alcohol out of both necessity and just it tasted good, man. So what happened was in about 1916 they started actually getting a lot of politicians elected who had platformed across the country on a prohibition bill. And these were Republicans and Democrats. It wasn't just one side. Because it was a pressure group and not a political group, they would support anyone who said they would have an temperance movement nationwide. So, with an income tax and with a majority in Congress favoring a national prohibition in 1917, this is the weird part. In 1917, both houses of Congress passed and ratified an amendment to the Constitution saying that there was going to be no alcohol sold or transported through the United States or manufactured. It was ratified in August for the Senate and in December for the House, and then it went to the states. Had to get a 2/3 majority in the states, as congressional acts are wont to do. And because of this,
I'm just thinking of the Schoolhouse Rock.
yeah,
I'm just a bill. Which I believe at some point goes over amendments and having to be a 2/3 majority. So
Yes.
tangent ending.
Yes, had 2/3 majority in the states and in the Congress, and it finally got that in 1919 with the 36 state ratifying. Did you know Connecticut and Rhode Island were the only two states to completely reject it?
I did not know that, which is surprising given the blue laws that tell me I totally can't buy booze on Sundays unless I cross state lines.
I know, what the fuck. So,
and I can't buy wine in the grocery store
No.
or liquor, only beer.
Thank you, blue laws. So, because of this, there was a method enacted with the actual amendment that said that for a year from ratification, it would be implemented. So, in January 1920, the bill was enacted and alcohol was banned. So, this created something interesting you saw, which was the scarf.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I went to this amazing exhibit on cocktail culture at the Rhode Island School of Design, which, if you have not been, is in Providence, Rhode Island, and is just a really fun, funky little museum. If you have a student ID, it's really, really cheap. And because this special exhibit was all about cocktail culture, it had, of course, fancy cocktail dresses. It also had a tiki bar set up. It had cocktail shakers from really early on and then in the 50s. And one of the really cool things that my friend and I thought were just fantastic were these scarves that women would wear that said, repeal the 18th Amendment. And I learned a little bit about Prohibition then, in that during pre-Prohibition, women were not welcomed in bars and saloons and places like that.
Yes.
They could drink in their own separate quarters once in a while, but during Prohibition, because drinking was driven into the home, men and women started drinking together.
Yes.
Which is where, flappers and everything and people...
Women's liberation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Word.
Evils. So, the 18th Amendment was eventually repealed in 1933 because at the time the amendment was enacted, alcohol was the 5th largest industry in the country, and it was really kind of a thorn in the side of everyone that they didn't have the money they needed to do these big public works projects for the New Deal. They had to deny the temperance movement that little victory they had for 13 years. So
these people were later reborn as crazy right-wing abortion protesters.
yes, that's their whole plan. So I hope everyone enjoyed this. If you really liked it and want to see more, let me know. If you want me to stop, tell me, I guess.
If you have a specific topic you would like covered, feel free to put it in the comments. My specialties include ancient history, art, a little bit of European culture, and food.
And I will cover mostly aerospace, American history, and anthropology subjects like human evolution. The anthropology degree has got to be good for something. So I hope everyone, as we said, enjoyed this. If you have a little buddy named Skylar or Tyler or Caden or Caleb or whatever, and you want them to learn something while watching sweet Call of Duty videos, send them my way. I'll be more than happy to teach them stuff while they watch really bad gameplay footage. Bye.